We are Maria
and Nicole. We're two secular homeschooling moms that have
been there, done that. Welcome to the Been There, Done That Homeschool Podcast. Today is episode 8, and we're going to be talking about holiday break and homeschooling. How do you stay on track during a long break? We're going to be talking about incorporating the holidays into your school. We're going to be talking about how to motivate your child after a long break.
And as usual, we want to stress that our podcast is an inclusive space for your everyday parents that are looking for education options. We are not here to convince you to homeschool. We want to stress that you need to do what works for your child and for your family.
Every family's different.
Absolutely. And you know your children best. So feel free to take what advice or information you get from here that works for you and chuck the rest.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Maria.
How you doing?
I am great. I'm so excited because the holidays are here.
I love this time of year. I love all of it. I love the hot cocoa, warm fires, time with family and making memories. I love all of it.
Oh my gosh, I do too. I like to fall asleep to Hallmark movies every night. They're all the same movie. In fact, you can fall asleep during one and then wake up during the other one. And it can be a totally different movie with different people, but it's really the same plot. So you can just keep going with it.
That's always the businesswoman. She's single and she moves to her hometown because they were in dire straits.
Or somebody needs rescuing. And she's got that sassy best friend. Tell her, watch out for your old flame.
And she runs into him.
He's a widower now.
With a child.
With a 6-year-old. They have a festival on Christmas Eve.
A beautiful festival where they fall in love.
And save the company. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful story.
They save the town, too.
And the town. And all the people. Oh, and there's like that random town guy that looks like Santa.
Oh, and there's some old biddy that finally her heart warms like the Grinch.
Yes, everybody gets along. It's fabulous. So, I actually made bingo cards for the Hallmark movies one year, like as a joke. And then all my friends wanted them, so I made it in like a PDF and I sent it to people. But now you can buy them at Hallmark. Like they make their own. They marketed their own. They totally copied me. I should have trademarked it.
You should have.
I know. It's ridiculous.
And here you are podcasting. You
I know.
should have been working for Hallmark all these years.
Hallmark, where are you? That was my idea. My genius idea.
Well, even though it's fun and warm and all the fun things that the holidays are, unfortunately, a lot of people feel a lot more stressed than usual.
Oh, yeah.
It can be a lot between all the events and all the relatives to see. Sometimes some really good relatives and sometimes some a little more challenging. all the things. Some people shop a lot, decorate, and all the preparations. But then throughout all that, then you're going to homeschool too.
Ooh, how are we going to fit that in?
The holidays are really a great time to relax and sometimes just take a break from that structured homeschooling.
Yeah, formal schoolwork is not going to go anywhere. It's still going to be waiting for you at the first of the year. So,
yeah, a lot of homeschool parents take off for most of December, get into the holiday spirit and do a lot of things that we're going to be discussing on this episode. So,
I mean, there's so much fun stuff going on, so why not? It does not mean that your kids are not going to learn during this time.
Right now would be a great time to remember all the reasons why you're homeschooling. Ultimately, you're trying to raise good people and you want to teach them to enjoy life. And
sure. I don't know if you ever used to follow the blog Rants from Mommyland with Juliana and Lydia. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay, mm-hmm. They were so funny. I loved all of their stuff. But so they used to refer to the time of year between Halloween to December as like the Halloween to holidays death spiral. And so you may have thought we were just going to talk about December in this episode.
Since
that's where we're at.
Let's start in October.
Yep, this starts in October. You've been plugging along since the school year started. Now, bam. Your plans are being totally derailed by all the fun fall parties and all the planning and all the countdown to winter holidays. So
how do we stay on track during the holidays?
So, some kids do just fine taking a break from homeschooling and they can just pick up where they left off. In fact, some kids really benefit from that. We talked a little bit about that in our preschool episode, how sometimes walking away from like difficult parts of homeschooling and then returning to them later with a little bit more maturity can just make a huge difference. But other kids can get totally undone when taking a break, which can force you into doing a ton of review before you get back into your groove. So, here are some different ways that you can avoid this. You can try schooling year round, which is like doing less work each day, but just doing it every day.
Right. You can drop all subjects except for maybe just do one or two.
Yeah.
Some people like to math year round because it's hard. One of those things that build on top of each concept. So it's hard to take a big break from something like that.
Yep. You can also change your existing lessons to incorporate holiday themes or crafts. And we're going to talk about a bunch of that later on in this episode.
Right. And encouraging other activities that still build skills, like a lot of free reading or things that involve hand-eye coordination.
Yep.
And we will include some of the links and things that we will be discussing on this episode on our show notes. So be sure to check it out. And I have a special bonus for you this week. As you approach the holidays, I have created a downloadable PDF document for free for all of our listeners. It is Advent calendar cards, and they focus on holiday family fun and kindness that you can do with your family out in your community. There are so many cards to choose from. And I have included some blank cards so you can even personalize it for your family and some of the activities that you may want to do. I suggest that you print them on cardstock and you can add them to a homemade advent calendar, or you can just simply put them in a mason jar and decorate the mason jar, and every morning you can just pick a card and do one of the fun activities. So they're simple and easy. So be sure to check that out after you listen. We would love it if you would take a second to go out there and like and rate us on your favorite streaming platform. Go out and check us out. Give us a thumbs up. So how do you incorporate the holidays into your school? Well, first of all, homeschooling during the holidays, that's an excellent example of how homeschooling can be adapted to your lifestyle.
Totally.
And many times new homeschooling parents will feel stressed about keeping up with the schedule regardless of any changes in their daily life. And this is especially common if families have recently switched from public school or simply haven't adjusted to the boundless opportunities of the freedom that homeschooling allows. So if you fall within this mindset, let me calm your fears. It's okay to slow down and relax and just take a break from that regular book learning.
Right. I'm reading right now Julie Bogart's The Brave Learner. I don't know if you've read that, but it's a fabulous book. And she has a quote in there that I loved. She says, "Kids who bake, woodwork, and quilt have a better grasp of what fractions are than a child who encounters them on worksheets." Mm-hmm. So, you know what? When we're in that moment, we're trying to incorporate these holidays into our school and kind of freaking out, embrace it. For years and years, my family struggled with getting off track this time of year. And I would joke that we were just bagging everything for home ec semester. Whenever my friend would call and be like, "Oh, what are you guys doing today? Maybe we can get together after you're done with schoolwork." And I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, we're very, very busy. It's home ec semester." She's like, "You're doing nothing, aren't you?" I finally decided to actually plan out a home ec semester. We talked about this in one of our preschool episodes, and I'm a list lover, and I found these fabulous stress-free holidays printables from a blog, a household management blog that I follow. I'll link them in the show notes, but this blog does all kinds of challenges and lists for all kinds of household organization tasks, and so I used that schedule as my base. And I'll be sharing some of the things that we did for home ec semester in this episode.
So right now I wanted to kind of list out kind of informally some of the things that to kind of give you some really applicable things that you can do with your family as you step away from some of that formal learning. And one of the first things that you can do, you want to really consider all the reasons why you're there with your children, is to make festive memories instead. One of the best holiday homeschool schedules is one without structured lessons. Perhaps maybe take this time to spend time together and just see where the day goes without homeschool on your daily schedule. One thing that comes to mind is one year when the kids were little, maybe, I don't know, between the ages of 6 and 12, we got a lot of friends together. We were really into the Polar Express, that movie with Tom Hanks. And so I decided to do a little Polar Express party. And we had friends over and we did a bunch of train activities, and we made snacks and had crafts and watched the movie, and I made hot cocoa, and I made little laminated tickets because what homeschooler doesn't have a laminator?
Of course. It's like a rule.
little tickets with little bells on it and put their name on there and made those into little ornaments for them as a little keepsake.
Oh, I love it. And, then every year when they see those ornaments on the tree, they remember what a fun time they had at their Polar Express party. I love that. We do, and we do several things like that too. We also, I'm sure you do this too, go out and pick out matching outfits for a holiday photo and make your own cards. Well, I say make your own. I mean, you can craft your own, but I make them at Shutterfly or Snapfish. But the kids do help. They can get online and they can help you pick the best background and, which pictures are the best. And kids love addressing and stamping envelopes and making an address list. And,
there's writing course 101.
Yep, there you go. You got some copy work down.
Right. Another thing you can do to get away from some of that formal learning is to add in craft days. Like make an entire day with nothing but crafts. Your kids are going to learn a lot making things and getting creative. They can make gifts, or most importantly, they're going to be making memories. From the time my kids were little, they were making Christmas presents for family. We did everything from making artwork to creating concrete stepping stones with their hand or footprint with their little name in there. Those still sit outside my front door. They would learn so much just building and creating. And, and a gift doesn't always have to be a craft.
Sure.
One year I made a CD of my kids singing with their little tiny voices. And what's kind of funny, because my 15-year-old now, he wants to be a musician and he wants to be a singer-songwriter. And I'm like, okay, I have his first CD. One day it's going to be worth $1 million when he's famous.
Oh, of course. So. And grandparents eat that too. They love those kind of gifts. So those are awesome. We did a lot of crafting as well. We would go to the fabric store for Halloween. We'd go and search all the pattern books, find costume ideas, buy fabric and sew them, and that's a great way to also spend, $500 or so on fabric that you'll wear one time for this costume, and then they'll sometimes appreciate a store-bought one another year. Still, we did it. We learned how to use a pattern and did all that. We trunk or treat. So I'm like back in October again. I'm kind of going in a row here, but
it's all crafts during the holidays.
We did a trunk or treat theme every year. We kind of plan that out like a year in advance. We love to do that. We all decorate. There was one podcast we were working on that we were like, we got to get our fall houses ready. Sometimes we do. Have you done a craft fair? We did one like last year with our Girl Scout troop, but we've done that several times where we get our supplies together, make something to market, and then the kids all trade the stuff.
Yeah, they do that with the homeschool group sale up in McKinney. They do that every year. They'll do a park day where a lot of the times the kids will make crafts. Some of them crochet, or some of them create little things for gifts. And sometimes they just barter, which is kind of a fun way. You don't need currency. So
it's super cute, and the kids love to do that. I always push this on everybody, but I don't use wrapping paper, and I make all my own fabric gift bags. I have brought everybody on board because this is like the ultimate craft project, is to make your own bags and use them instead of wrapping paper. Brilliant. It changes your life. It's amazing. We've also, we were a family of hoteliers, so we have organized table decor and learned about napkin folds. And you can find all kinds of cool videos, especially like cruise ships and different formal events have all kinds of weird napkin folds that they can make. And so one year I gave the kids all my formal napkins, had them iron them, and then they made them into all kinds of weird shapes and just discussed what they were going to do for, each formal meal that we were going to do.
That's etiquette 101 right there.
And polishing silverware is the best thing that you can give to a kid. Well, it's one of my favorite cleaning jobs to do anyway.
It's like instant gratification.
It is. It's one of the few things you can do that you can see the end result. So kids love to do that. So you can totally substitute that as a craft, right? Even though it's really a cleaning thing.
They don't know. They don't have to know that.
No, they don't.
Okay, the next thing that's kind of an obvious one is holiday cooking and baking. It's a fantastic way to not only bond with your child. Some of those family treasured recipes are so important to teach your kids. Pass it on. My mom called me the other day and she was like, hey, would Cameron, he's 15 years old, like to come and help us do some of the holiday meal preparations? Aww. And I asked him, and of course he was like, absolutely. He wants to learn all about that. He wants to know his heritage. He's kind of at that age. He wants to know where he came from and spend time with his grandparents. And
that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, fantastic.
That's awesome. We also copied a friend several years ago. Candace posted a hot cocoa bar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Our hot cocoa bar, as soon as the temperature drops below 70, I'm like, hot cocoa bar.
Yep. And this is like the most fun and simple little project you can do in your house that will make your kids so excited. And you just set aside a part of your kitchen and put just marshmallow, any kind of like hot cocoa topping. Right. Like, what do you have in yours? I have like peppermint sticks.
Yeah, candy canes are fantastic. They're cheap and you can buy them at the dollar store.
Yeah, and they can use them as stirrers.
Oh, you know what? And I used to think that when people did that, I thought they were crazy. I'm like, why would you put peppermint in your hot cocoa? And I tried it and I fell in love. I love that flavor.
Yeah, we have holiday sprinkles. Big Lots always has really cool like stuff. I get different shaped marshmallows and then holiday sprinkle things in different colors. And
of course, there's the trusty old marshmallow and whipped cream. Those are always fun. Chocolate shavings. Sometimes we'll do that.
Do some mini M&Ms.
Ooh,
the red and green ones.
I've not done that one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. They're delicious. And so I bought some actual like hot cocoa mugs. They're big and colorful for Christmas, and we put them out. And it's just a lot of fun. The hot cocoa bar is, and actually I introduce it in fall. So I have a fall hot cocoa bar. Mine has morphed like every year. It gets bigger and bigger. Like now it takes up like an entire counter in my kitchen, not just like a little square. But so it morphs from my fall hot cocoa bar, which is a little subdued, to it has a massive glow up to my holiday hot cocoa bar.
You can have even special hot cocoa bar days where you do like hot cocoa bombs. Those are always fun.
Oh, yeah, those are so fun.
Yeah, they are.
And I've seen a bunch of people, one of my friends, Sonia, always posts pictures of charcuterie, but then they're not really charcuterie because it's not meat and cheese, but it's different like graham crackers and cookies and all different things arranged with the hot cocoa bar.
You need to do that this year. I'm coming over.
But also, speaking of food, what about our creepy Halloween food party?
I love it. I love it every year. It's one of our favorite times. I didn't do my normal creepy food this year. Usually I do hot dogs and I wrap croissant rolls around it and cut little eye holes with a straw and put little black olives in there, make little mummy dogs.
So cute, yeah.
This year I made spider eggs, deviled eggs.
They were
with
awesome.
Black olive spiders on top.
Yes, and we were talking about how our friend Mary did them one year, and she somehow dyed the eggs black.
Yeah, they were
terrible. Super creepy. All the stuff. I earmark all of these creepy food recipes and things that I see like during the year, but then I always make the same exact thing. I always make a vomiting guacamole pumpkin.
Your worms.
And my barbecued worms. And then a pumpkin dip, which is not creepy, but anyway, we do this every year and it's so much fun, and the kids love to find ideas. They talk about it all year long. We do a punch with dry ice, which I couldn't find this year, so the kids are like, that's just your New Year's Eve punch then. It's not even special.
I'm still sad about that dry ice. I don't know why you couldn't find it. It's one of my favorite things to do when the kids are little, science experiments.
It's so much fun. It gives us like a full 24 hours of fun on Halloween when we can find that. Continuing on with food, we would scour the internet and cookbooks for like fabulous like Thanksgiving and hors d'oeuvre recipes and different holiday like Christmas morning casseroles. We read a ton of America's Test Kitchen food experiments. I love, they're the gold standard for recipes. We also loved Alton Brown. Do you love Alton Brown?
I love him.
Oh my gosh. So all of his old Good Eats episodes, we would use those kind of as a base and teach the kids how to master the basics of things like making a roux or gravy,
Right.
Roasting a turkey, how to make the best mashed potato. We did a macaroni and cheese competition. He did a baked one and a stove one. And so we did that to see which one was the best, taste testing. And then we did a pie crust competition.
That was during kind of like the pie hike.
It was, yeah, because my old hiking group, Pie Hike, started as a pie baking competition. They got out of hand. Like, friendships were ruined.
Yeah,
over
we
the
throw
pie
down.
competition.
And Nicole and I are not competitive at all.
Not at all. But the pie crust competition, we were comparing different, like somebody made a butter crust, somebody made a Crisco, somebody made something else. Oh, store-bought, I think. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you can do so much stuff with food during the holidays that's still learning.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about the next thing you can do when you set aside some of that formal learning is you can create a holiday writing assignment. A lot of times kids are really excited. If you celebrate Christmas and you have Santa, you might encourage them to write a letter to Santa. teach them the appropriate way to write a letter, do fun things. You can write poetry, just creative writing a holiday story, write an end to one of their favorite holiday movies. It's just a lot of fun for the kids to do. Sometimes if you write a song or a poem, you can give it away as a holiday gift. And it doesn't even have to be a physical skill set to write. When my kids, a lot of times they had these really great creative story ideas, but they didn't have the ability to actually physically write them or type them out yet because they were too little. And so they would dictate stories to me, and I can type pretty fast, and I would type them out and print them. We would just make a little booklet, and they would thumb through and make some of the artwork. So creating their own little book was always a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I have a friend who used to do a copywork project with her kids with Christmas songs because, these are songs we just sing once a year, and not everybody knows all the words, like especially for some of these old ones that we've been singing. And, it was kind of the joke that like we always sing them with the wrong lyrics. So she did a copywork exercise with that. And so it was an interesting way to incorporate writing into something fun, but still learning during the holidays.
Right. And one thing I wanted to mention on that is in addition to writing songs, you can actually do like holiday karaoke.
Fun.
Yeah, beyond the normal karaoke, which actually my 15-year-old was one of my teaching him to read tactics was karaoke. It's a fantastic way to teach young kids how to read.
Yeah.
You can also teach them how to read during the holidays, during some of these songs that they know, and they're right there on the screen. The words are on the screen so they can read them. So there's reading 101.
Yeah, that's super cool. I had a book, a car karaoke book of holiday songs that we used to take, and it had like different booklets for different people, whether you were sitting in the front or the way back, and we passed them out. But I remember you and I took the kids to like a lights, like a drive-through lights thing, and we sang and sang and sang that night, mostly because the line was really, really long.
Oh my gosh, I think it took us over an hour just to get to the entrance.
Right, to the entrance of the thing. But I think we had the book that night. I think they had it in the car, and we were all doing it. And then, of course, they were playing all the music, so it was a lot of fun. But so, along with another thing to write your gift list. You could whisper it in Santa's ear, but I would also like to have a copy, please. So, I had the kids really help us create a holiday budget for gifts and travel and other expenditures. And, they would make their gift lists that would fit within those parameters. We'd also search online for coupons or deals that might help us save money when purchasing things. And,
Budgeting 101.
Yep, making shopping lists. The kids really gotten to kind of competitive about looking for deals. Like we got to the point where we found so many online coupons or free shipping or 20% off that it became such a ordeal when we would find something that we couldn't find a coupon for. We'd be like, seriously, keep looking, it's out there.
Another way that you can separate yourself from some of that formal education is making some STEM projects. Like I mentioned earlier, some dry ice, if you can find it. Apparently right now it's a little scarce, but you want your kids to wear gloves. There's a lot of precautions that you have to make, but there are some really cool experiments that you can do with dry ice. It's so fun. You can make homemade snow globes. My kids love to solder, and I would get little solder projects. There was one year that they soldered this little holiday tree with little Christmas lights, and they were so proud. You could do the little circuit and lit up the tree. Another year I always do these little Advent stockings, and I bought them at the dollar store. They came, I think, 4 in a pack, and I just hung them on a string across my living space in my homeschool room with little binder clips. And inside I put pieces of paper, and inside was a little project that they did every day. Like it could be something like build a car with your Lego, and they would run over and go in through shuffling through the Legos. Anybody with kids knows that sound.
Oh yeah. I do.
But all kinds of other things. There's countless lists. You can go online, you can Google, you can find all kinds of STEM activities. So that's really fun.
Yeah, some of the classic ones are making ornaments with science themes, like cutting out snowflakes.
Oh, yes.
That's all math and sciencey to get those to work the way that you want them to, so that when you open them up. We
incorporated that with food also. Yeah, this is one of my favorite things to do. Is we still do this? Is you take a tortilla and you cut it, you fold it like a.
Really? Oh my goodness.
And you cut it, and then you can do a little spray oil on there, a little cinnamon and sugar, and bake it.
Gosh.
and you eat that. It's so good.
Oh, that's a great idea. Like I want to go home and do that right now.
Like a cheap churro.
We're totally going to. We found you can find online patterns for different snowflakes too. So one year I've told you before that I'm a little bad about choosing craft projects that are a little bit above the level that my kids were at, and so one year I found these really cool Star Wars ones and for us to make. And I think like everybody cut their. You needed. It wasn't even just scissors. Like you needed a X-Acto knife. I think we all cut ourselves.
Little
they're like
ambitious
bloody snowflakes.
Hey, 4-year-old, here, cut this.
But they're really cool. So if you have older kids that like Star Wars, go look those up. They're online somewhere. Oh, I'll link them in the show notes.
There we go.
Yeah. We've also done, making pipe cleaner, different kind of shapes, geometric shapes, and then putting beads on them to make those. And slime. Kids love slime, and you can make snow slime. Jillian was our slime expert. I don't know how you make snow slime, but we had some of that we always made.
I want to know how to make. I don't know how to make we make slime all the time, but snow slime?
Yeah, I think I have it. Well, you have to order some jar from Amazon that there's some ingredient.
I think we need that in our show notes because I want to know what that is.
I will find the snow slime and put it in there. So, anyway, it's also it's also important to remember we're kind of going in and out like holidays, Christmas, holiday. There's 14 different religious holidays in the month of December. We're kind of using the term holidays to cover all of that. We're all going to have different traditions that we're following, but we also tried to learn about the 14 different holidays in the month of December. So we would go and check out books from the library and learn about those, attending different services or celebrations, and we watched a ton of YouTube videos about different people's ways of celebrating.
Right. I've been there, and I know you've been there too. There's just this Buddhist temple down the street, and they do like a luncheon every day. Yeah. The food's amazing. So just checking out some of those places and broadening your children's outlook on things like that are super educational. Yeah. Another thing you can do is build a lap book. We talked about that in our preschool series, but you can do one specifically inspired by the holiday that your family celebrates or all of the 14 holidays celebrated during the month of December. You could do an entire unit study about the seasons, just as the leaves are changing, and you could do leaf rubbings, things like that.
So one of the things now that we've got some of our kids are away at college, they really look forward to coming home and doing all of the holiday events and field trips, because we would always make a giant family calendar and fit in all of the local things that we wanted to do, mm-hmm. which you usually did with us as well. We did a ton, right?
So many things. Another thing you can do is Christmas caroling. A friend of ours in McKinney, every year she organizes caroling, and we go around. We can talk about the origins of caroling. There are so many ways to incorporate learning into the holidays. Another thing that we like to do are the trains at North Park Mall down here in Dallas. They benefit the Ronald McDonald House, fantastic organization, but they can learn about the history of locomotives. You can teach your child why this organization is so important. Talk about childhood illness. Talk about why other people are in need. Another one of my favorite annual activities is our horse-drawn carriage ride through the holiday lights. We love to go see that. There's certain areas in town that are all lit up. I think it's actually part of their homeowners association that they have to decorate for the holidays.
It's wild.
Yeah. And so we sign up and we get this, and it's not too costly because we split the cost among everyone, several families, and so that's a lot of fun.
It is a great time. We also go to the Arboretum does their 12 Days of Christmas giant. They're giant,
they're like globe.
Creepy. Yeah, the people ones are because they're mannequins. Yeah. They're little, and my kids actually made it the 13 days, and the last one zombies.
They do look like zombies. They're so
see,
creepy.
they're writing songs. They're writing lyrics. Kids are creative. That counts as homeschooling during home ec semester. But yeah, we try to do we do lights often. We do, there's so many holiday events in town that you can tune into. So find those, take your kids, take a day off, make those memories.
Yeah, I remember just last year, Walmart actually did something in this parking lot, in one of their big parking lots, the big snow globes. And it was like a toy making machine. Well, actually, there was a part of the snow globe. I think there were 4 snow globes, and each one had a certain task. And one of them, you push the button, and it did a little thing almost like a Willy Wonka, and it spit out a wrapped gift toy, and they gave that to you. And then there was hot cocoa station and I think a little photo booth. I can't remember what the fourth one was. So
and they love that. And don't even discount like for your older ones. Like I said, my college kids are loved. So our town that we live in has a little Christmas village that it does every year, and it's got these miniature buildings. They're all sponsored by different things, and it's so much fun to walk through. And like my big kids still like love that.
Did you see they moved it because City Hall got burned? Yeah.
Well, and as you know, the McLean Irish Dancers perform at the
that's
the
right.
Christmas Village every year. They love to see that come out every year. So even though I would not think that they would want to go to this event because they're way too old for it, they still love it because we did it every year when they were little.
Another great way for your child to continue to learn are board games.
Yeah.
Board games are great tools for childhood development and learning. They teach problem solving, improves logical thinking, and even better, they're great for the entire family or just to hang out with friends.
You know, we host a big New Year's Eve party every year that is a board game and soup party that I copied from my friend Karen, many years ago. But it's a lot of fun, and people bring games. I have a lot of games. You have a lot of games. So we bring those all, and everybody just kind of plays as they want. Cards are great. That's what we did in my family. My grandparents always were great with cards, even as they aged. So that was always something we'd all sit down, like everybody of all ages could do cards.
Right. Of course, this is my favorite because I love to read, but cuddling up by the fire with a great book. I mean, this is an important way to keep your child reading through the holiday. You can choose a holiday-inspired book. We love Charles Dickens, some of those favorite classic books. Just something from your child's favorite author. When my kids were little, they loved Magic Treehouse books. They got a little older. Of course, they love Harry Potter and Gregor the Overlander, Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
Read to them. Even older children, they benefit immensely by being read to.
Sure.
And it's a lot of fun to share a story together. My friend Paula, she actually does an advent calendar, and every day she has the children, they unwrap a book and read it that day. It's just a little short book. So
yeah, that's adorable. I love that. And I like when people do that with different wrapping paper and make it look really cute. It's a lot of fun. We also have, we've got a big basket of books that come out with my holiday decorations of, holiday books. And I also have special blankets that come out on my couch. My kids all fight. Everybody fights over the Christmas tree blanket. But it's just part of like making your house cozy, during the holidays so that it encourages everybody to want to cuddle up with a book and read.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's my favorite time too.
Right. And another thing that I wanted to mention, which is a huge part of our school year, but also especially during the holidays, is volunteering. It's a great way to teach your kids to give back. We've always done Meals on Wheels. We've volunteered and helped at the Senior and Alzheimer's Center. You can help at a soup kitchen. You can do things like just gather winter coats from friends and hand them out to the homeless. You can bake a treat or deliver it to an elderly neighbor, or just go over for a visit, help them out. Their lawn maintained, or, anything around their house. Sometimes these people are alone and they need help, and you're teaching your children how to give back whenever you're doing things like that.
Absolutely.
When you're, my friend Paula, I mentioned earlier, she's a voracious reader and taught her children to love books, and she organized a huge book collection event.
Oh, so big.
And we gathered all these books up, and we went to an underserved school. Some of these young school kids didn't have any books at home, so they came over and our kids helped them pick out books. Then they all sat down, and our kids sat at the front and read some of these books to the kids, and they had a great time.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Yep. And I know, we volunteer all year round, but especially during the holiday season, everybody just feels more generous and everything. And so tap on that. My friend Denise does a blanket drive every year, and that's great. She'll collect money, or because she'll go to Walmart and get all of the They have very inexpensive blankets that you can pick up almost all the time, or people will donate and give blankets that they've bought, and they're great because you can use them for people, you can use them for animal shelters, love donations like that, and so it's a great way to just tap into everybody's generosity this time of year. So just a reminder that this is a weekly episode. We drop one every Thursday morning just for you. And if you have any additional ideas or comments, like come to our Facebook page and you can comment on the episode thread, or send us an email at info@btdthomeschool.com. We'd love to hear from you. And our last episode of the year is going to be a Q&A. And we'd love to get some of your questions so that we can answer them on that episode. So send them in.
Right. And after all of this, after months or however long you decide to kind of do this more unstructured learning, after all this excitement, oftentimes we welcome, and our students do, we welcome a return to our regular school programming in January.
Absolutely. I know both you and I, and many homeschool moms, our calendars are essential to our sanity. But, that holiday season is a great time to just step back, take a deep breath. Kids get burned out, so do we. But the great news is there's so many ways to keep your kids learning through the holiday season, and we just shared a bunch of those.
So one of the big questions that are asked is, how do you motivate your child after a long break? Some kids are welcoming it, like I said, and some kids, it might take a minute for them to kind of get their motor started.
Right. And, like traditional school families, there's just always such a rush and excitement to get back to school in September and in January. Even if you school year round, like we often did, it can be extra motivating to get organized and fine tune existing routines, maybe buy curricula on sale. So I say you ride these highs and use them to your full advantage, because it's going to happen again, September, it's going to happen again in January. This happens every year.
I always try to do something special. I always do a not back to school basket where I give the kids IDs and sometimes school supplies, science kits, sometimes some art supplies and candy. And I've done sunglasses, Starbucks gift cards. And sometimes I'll put little pieces of paper in there, like little tickets, get out of math day for free.
Oh, I love that.
Or put down the books and go outside for the whole day. And it's a lot easier to do when they're younger and you're not outsourcing very much because you kind of have full control.
Your baskets are always very clever. My kids are always like, where's our back to school baskets? And I'm like, maybe at Maria's house. I don't know.
I love to do that.
They're awesome.
First of the school, I always do kind of like a first day of school questionnaire. They do their weight and height and what's your favorite book? What's your favorite movie? And what's your favorite food? And so I do that, and then after they fill it out, I show them the previous year, and they always look and see how much they've grown. But
That's
then
fun.
at the beginning of the year in January, once we're starting back after a long break, I always do kind of like a resolution thing. But one thing I wanted to add about starting back after the holiday break is I always try to accept the fact that it's going to take them several days to really get started. So I usually don't start with everything and have this high expectation that everything's going to get done. I start a little slower. Say we're doing math instead of doing a whole math page. I'm like, okay, we're going to do 2 problems, or kind of if we're going to start a book, maybe just do the intro or something instead of expecting a child to, read a couple chapters in a day.
Yeah, that's a smart way to do that. We often ease in or kind of stagger our return to school a little bit like this. Sometimes it's just the way that some of the outside classes we are operate, as we've done stuff with the community college or the local school schedule. They just kind of happen like that, but we also do that on purpose just to ease in and make it a slow and relaxed return, and that's just makes everybody happier. So yeah, use this time, this fresh, start a new tradition, make things magical, find a new routine and rhythm. Maybe what you were doing before you took that big break was wearing on you, and it's time for something fresh and new. So use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that more next time.
In episode 9, we're going to be discussing the difference between schedules, routines, and rhythms, organizing your day, and talking about different planning methods.
Happy holidays.
Cheers! Be sure to check us out on our website at btdthomeschool.com, as in been there, done that, btdthomeschool.com. You can join our mailing list and get news and updates on future podcasts, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at the BTDT Been There Done That Homeschool Podcast.